Stop being average. Here's the real deal. Most people settle. Not because they're incapable, but because they confuse comfort with safety. They confuse mediocrity with security. They confuse small victories with true success. The truth that most are unwilling to face is blunt. Average is a choice, not a circumstance. Not fate, not luck. Choice. Every day you decide, consciously or unconsciously, whether you will settle or whether you will push beyond the comfort of the crowd. And that choice compounds. Average is not a habit that happens overnight. It is a lifetime accumulation of small decisions to avoid risk, to avoid effort, to avoid discomfort. You were born with potential, but potential is meaningless without action. Talent without persistence is worthless. Intelligence without execution is wasted energy. The world does not reward potential, it rewards results. The world does not care about your excuses, your fears, or your plans to start tomorrow. It only responds to what you do today. And most people fail to understand that the cost of staying average is far higher than the temporary discomfort of pushing beyond it. The first step in leaving average behind is recognizing that fear is the invisible hand keeping you small. Fear whispers that comfort is safer, that the unknown is dangerous, that mediocrity is acceptable. Fear is clever because it disguises itself as logic. You're not ready yet. You'll fail if you try. Why risk what you already have? But fear is lying. Fear's purpose is not to protect you. It is to preserve stagnation. And the longer you listen, the longer you allow it to dominate, the more your potential decays in the background, silently, while the world moves forward. To stop being average, you must embrace fear as a signpost, not a barrier. Every moment you feel afraid, it is a moment that contains opportunity. Every discomfort you feel is a signal that you are stepping into growth. The path to excellence is not painless.
It is not convenient. It is not comfortable.
It is lonely, challenging, and often misunderstood by those who prefer the illusion of safety. But it is the only path to a life that matters. Average is contagious. Surround yourself with people who settle, and their mediocrity will infect your ambition. You will adopt excuses without realizing it. You will normalize comfort without noticing. The culture around you will silently reinforce the idea that ordinary is enough, that smallness is acceptable. To rise above, you must intentionally seek those who challenge you, who inspire you, who demand more from themselves and from you. Excellence does not flourish in complacency. It requires friction, pressure, and accountability. The people who leave average behind are the ones who refuse to make excuses, who refuse to follow the crowd blindly, who refuse to allow comfort to dictate their life's trajectory. They understand that the world is neutral. Life does not hand out rewards for showing up. It hands out rewards for showing up and giving everything you have. And showing up fully means being uncomfortable, being misunderstood, being judged, and sometimes failing publicly. The cost is high, but the reward is extraordinary. One of the biggest lies society tells is that being average is safe. It is not. Average leads to regrets you cannot undo, dreams you never chase, and life experiences you will never taste. Most people die quietly, not because they had no potential, but because they quietly accepted mediocrity as their default mode. They confuse survival with living. They confuse sufficiency with fulfillment. And by the time they realize the truth, the energy, the health, and the opportunities they had are gone. To escape average, you must redefine your relationship with discomfort. You must start seeing hard work not as punishment, but as an investment. You must start seeing rejection not as failure, but as growth. You must start seeing the extra mile not as optional, but as essential. Average never requires your best effort. Excellence demands it relentlessly. And that relentless pursuit is what separates the few who achieve greatness from the many who merely exist. Here's the truth most people cannot accept. The world does not owe you anything. Talent will not save you. Dreams will not save you. Connections will not save you. Your excuses will not save you from an average life. Is you. Your choices, your discipline, your courage, your willingness to endure discomfort and push past limits that feel unbearable. You are the architect of your own excellence or mediocrity. No one else can build it for you. Average is seductive because it is easy. It allows you to coast. It allows you to compare yourself to others and feel good enough. But good enough is the most dangerous phrase you can embrace if you want a life that matters. There is no glory in being average. There is no satisfaction in settling for comfort over growth. There is no legacy in living a life that is merely adequate. True fulfillment comes when you push beyond the ordinary, when you do what others refuse to do, when you sacrifice small pleasures now for massive rewards later. Average is not a trait. It is a habit. It is the accumulation of small decisions that prioritize comfort over growth, convenience over courage, and ease over excellence. Every skipped workout, every delayed project, every avoided confrontation, every excuse uttered quietly in your mind compounds over time to shape a life that is smaller than what you were capable of achieving. Excellence does not require perfection, but it does require consistency. It requires showing up even when no one is watching, working when you feel tired, learning when it feels uncomfortable, and sacrificing the fleeting pleasures of instant gratification for long-term mastery. To stop being average, you must start seeing your everyday choices as bricks in the foundation of the extraordinary life you wish to build. Consider this: the difference between an average person and an exceptional one is rarely a matter of talent. It is a matter of relentless action. Exceptional people do what average people avoid. They face rejection repeatedly without letting it define them. They fail multiple times without giving up. They work on the unseen, the unrecognized, and the uncomfortable tasks that others ignore. Talent may get someone noticed, but effort, discipline, and persistence determine who thrives. To rise above mediocrity, you must commit to doing what is necessary, even when it is not glamorous, even when no one applauds. The invisible work is the real work, and that work compounds exponentially over time, separating the few from the many. One of the most dangerous lies you can believe is that average is safe. The truth is that average is silent death of potential. Every day you remain average, you quietly give up opportunities you may never get back. You trade energy for comfort, risk for security, and possibility for predictability. Life is short, and the clock is moving relentlessly. Those who remain average will wake up years from now, realizing the dreams they allowed to fade, the skills they never honed, and the version of themselves they never became. In contrast, those who dare to step out of the crowd, to push beyond the expected, to embrace the discomfort of growth, experience life in vivid detail, filled with achievement, purpose, and fulfillment. To stop being average, you must confront yourself honestly. Ask yourself, am I doing what I could be doing if fear, laziness, and excuses didn't exist? Am I living below my potential because it feels safer, easier, or more convenient? These questions are uncomfortable because they demand truth. They demand accountability. They force you to see the moments you have wasted, the choices you have avoided, and the courage you have left dormant. But facing that truth is a first step toward transformation. Without brutal honesty, average will continue to dominate quietly, slowly eroding your potential until regret becomes unbearable. Excellence is not achieved by doing what everyone else does. It is achieved by doing what everyone else refuses to do. It is achieved by putting in the extra hour of work, reading the extra page of knowledge, practicing the skill no one else wants to practice, and enduring the discomfort that the majority avoids. While others sleep, exceptional people study. While others scroll endlessly through distractions, exceptional people focus. While others rationalize why they cannot start, exceptional people start anyway. Every choice to push beyond the minimum compounds over time, creating results that seem impossible to those who have never committed to them. Another key to leaving mediocrity behind is the company you keep. Average is contagious. When you surround yourself with people who are comfortable with ordinary, who make excuses, who avoid challenge, and who fear growth, you will unconsciously adopt their mindset and habits. To become exceptional, you must intentionally immerse yourself in people who inspire, challenge, and hold you accountable. Seek mentors, coaches, and peers who embody the life you aspire to live. Absorb their mindset. Study their habits. Let their energy elevate yours. The environment you choose is one of the most powerful forces shaping whether you remain average or rise above. The road to leaving average behind is not linear. You will fail. You will stumble. You will question your ability and your direction. But each setback is a lesson in disguise. Each failure is an opportunity to learn, adapt, and grow. Average people see failure as a reason to quit. Exceptional people see failure as a signal that they are moving in the right direction, beyond comfort, beyond expectation, beyond the ordinary. The difference is mindset. The difference is perspective. And that difference is the ultimate weapon against mediocrity. Life does not reward intention alone. Desire is meaningless without action. Dreams are wasted energy without execution. Most people know what they should do. They have ideas, plans, and ambitions, but few act decisively. To stop being average, you must act boldly. You must take risks. You must prioritize long-term impact over short-term comfort. You must choose courage over fear, discipline over indulgence, and effort over excuses. Action, repeated consistently, is the bridge between average and exceptional. Here's a brutal truth. If you continue doing what everyone else does, you will continue getting what everyone else gets. If you continue to follow the crowd, to settle for comfort, to procrastinate your growth, you will never break free from the limitations of mediocrity. Extraordinary results require extraordinary commitment. They demand sacrifice. They demand focus. They demand persistence. And while the journey may feel isolating at times, the reward is freedom. The freedom to live life on your own terms, the freedom to inspire others by example. The moment you decide to stop being average is the moment you reclaim your life. It is the moment you refuse to accept mediocrity as your default. It is the moment you embrace discomfort as a necessary ingredient for greatness. It is the moment you understand that everything you want, success, respect, mastery, fulfillment, requires more than talent. It requires relentless effort, unwavering discipline, and the courage to do what others will not. Average is seductive because it masquerades as safety. It tells you you're fine. Don't push too hard. Don't take unnecessary risks. But safety, in this sense, is an illusion. It is a slow trap that numbs your potential. Life is not a rehearsal, and the clock does not pause while you hesitate. Every day you choose comfort over growth, you are quietly surrendering the person you could become. The world does not reward playing small. It rewards boldness, persistence, and courage. To stop being average, you must embrace discomfort as your ally, uncertainty as your teacher, and action as your weapon. The choice to rise above mediocrity is not a single decision. It is a lifestyle, a series of deliberate choices repeated daily, until excellence becomes your default. Think about the people you admire most. Chances are, they didn't become extraordinary by staying within the boundaries of what was easy or expected. They became exceptional because they consistently did the things others avoided. They stayed when quitting was tempting. They worked when laziness called. They faced criticism and rejection, yet continued relentlessly. Excellence requires persistence, not perfection. It is not the occasional heroic effort that separates the great from the average. It is the daily, unglamorous grind that builds strength, skill, and character. To leave average behind, you must adopt this mindset, understanding that small, disciplined actions compound into extraordinary results over time. One of the most critical truths about leaving mediocrity is understanding that your environment shapes your habits, your beliefs, and ultimately your results. Surround yourself with those who are content with ordinary, and their mindset will subtly influence you. They will normalize excuses, celebrate mediocrity, and reinforce complacency. Conversely, surround yourself with those who challenge you, who push you to think bigger, who demand more of themselves and of you, and you will raise your standards naturally. Greatness is rarely achieved in isolation. It is cultivated in a community of excellence, where accountability, inspiration, and ambition create momentum that propels you forward. Average is also a product of fear, the fear of failure, rejection, or discomfort. Most people avoid risk not because they cannot succeed, but because they are afraid of temporary discomfort. But here's the irony. The temporary discomfort of growth is far less painful than the lifelong regret of untapped potential. Fear is a compass pointing directly to the areas in which you must grow. To stop being average, you must redefine your relationship with fear. See it not as a stop sign, but as a signal to move forward with courage. Every time you step into fear, you build resilience, confidence, and momentum that the average person will never experience. You cannot expect to rise above the crowd while clinging to comfort. Comfort is the enemy of progress. Average is easy because it requires minimal effort, minimal risk, and minimal accountability. But human beings were not designed to merely survive. We were designed to grow, to challenge, to create, and to leave a mark. To stop being average, you must embrace challenge as your constant companion. Seek out tasks that stretch your abilities, expose your weaknesses, and force you to adapt. These are the moments that cultivate greatness. The pain of effort is fleeting, but the regret of inaction lasts a lifetime. Leaving average behind requires more than just effort. It requires vision. You must define what extraordinary looks like for you personally, not based on what society deems impressive, but based on what aligns with your deepest values, ambitions, and potential. Without a clear vision, your efforts will be scattered and mediocrity will quietly creep back in. The exceptional see the end goal vividly, and every choice they make is informed by that vision. They do not live aimlessly, they live intentionally. To stop being average, you must paint a picture of your extraordinary life, study it daily, and align your actions to it relentlessly, even when distractions, doubts, and fears arise. Discipline is the bridge between average and exceptional. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes. Inspiration is unreliable. But discipline, cultivated through repeated practice, endures. It is what allows you to work when you are tired, to study when you would rather play, to push forward when every instinct tells you to quit. Discipline is not glamorous, but it is effective. To stop being average, you must cultivate habits that reinforce your vision even when your feelings resist. Small daily actions, when repeated consistently, create the momentum that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Time is a relentless force, indifferent to talent, desire, or potential. Every day you spend settling for average is a day lost forever. You cannot reclaim it, and it will accumulate silently, shaping a life smaller than what you were capable of achieving. The extraordinary understand this. They treat time as precious, guarding it fiercely against distractions, excuses, and mediocrity. They focus on high-value activities, prioritize personal growth, and invest in themselves relentlessly. To stop being average, you must do the same. Protect your time, respect your energy, invest in what truly matters. Another defining characteristic of those who rise above mediocrity is resilience. Average people quit after the first obstacle. Exceptional people persist after the 100th. They understand that failure is not an endpoint. It is feedback. Every setback, every criticism, every mistake is an opportunity to learn, adapt, and come back stronger. The difference between average and exceptional is not a lack of obstacles. It is the refusal to let obstacles define your trajectory. To stop being average, you must embrace setbacks as teachers, not punishers, and continue moving forward regardless of temporary discomfort or criticism. Action is the currency of excellence. Ideas, dreams, and intentions are meaningless without execution. Most people know what they want. They have plans, visions, and goals, but few act decisively and consistently enough to achieve them. To stop being average, you must commit to relentless action. Start before you feel ready. Push forward when you feel afraid. Keep going when progress feels slow. Momentum is built through repetition, consistency, and persistence. Every action taken compounds over time, eventually producing results that seem impossible to those still trapped in indecision and fear. Before we continue, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. This is where you get daily motivation, life-changing insights, and the push you need to stop being average and start living your best life. Don't wait for tomorrow. Start your transformation today, and let's grow together.